Remember when this was the best delivery method for music? Remember when this was the best delivery method for supplements? Every industry evolves and improves with new breakthroughs in science and technology. Here at Numi, we've used a proprietary technology to solve an issue that's been around since nutritional supplementation began: the problem of absorption. So many of today's supplements are less effective due to their inability to be absorbed naturally by the body. Using our own proprietary Hydrostat Nano Delivery breakthrough, we reduce the particle size of critical nutrients smaller than ever before, allowing them to absorb in your mouth while swishing for 30 seconds or more. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It's responsible for boosting your energy, detoxifying cells, reducing inflammation, and boosting the immune system. If glutathione is so amazing, why have you never heard of it? Because glutathione is extremely fragile, and if taken orally, it will be destroyed via the digestive process, rendering it virtually useless to the body, until now. NutraSwish applies nanotechnology to achieve maximum absorption. Now, glutathione and other nutrients can be absorbed simply and quickly by swishing in the mouth instead of being destroyed in the stomach. Using this same nanotechnology, we've created the ultimate skincare product, Numi Skin. We've been able to achieve unparalleled absorption for key ingredients, including collagen, hyaluronic acid, and more. Some of the top skin experts in the world work together to create the ultimate blend of skin-enhancing nanonutrients, creating the most amazing before and after results. With our nano solution, you no longer have to wait months to experience the effects of skincare and supplementation. Our customers are noticing a difference within a matter of days. Don't wait to look, feel, and live your best life. A new you starts with Numi.
Hi, welcome back to another Dr. Shante video. This video is basically sharing what I do for general health maintenance. Well, in addition to just eating healthy, I take supplements. I take them habitually. The first supplement on the list is a multivitamin. A good multivitamin from A to zinc. That is what I take. I take it in the form of a hair, skin, and nail vitamin, but a multivitamin is suffice. The next thing is I take omega-3. I don't do the fish oil cap. I do this in a liquid because this is one of the 3 macronutrients that we need, right? We need carbohydrates, proteins, fatty acids. Okay, that's how I do that. In addition to taking a probiotic, I take prebiotics. I may take the prebiotics more frequently than the probiotics, and I can go over later the why to that. And I also take digestive enzymes. Those are the main things I take. Additional supplements that I take a superfood powder, and I have this much of water inside of the bottle before I put like 1 or 2 teaspoons of that powder in there. I'll make a separate video talking about it because it has so much benefit, but this is also something that I use on a daily basis. The definition of a holistic view is that all aspects of people's needs, psychological, physical, and social, should be taken into account and seen as a whole. Holistic relationships is leading the charge and sparking real conversations that transcend the ordinary, aiming not only to explore life's intricate facets, but also to inspire positive change and cultivate better approaches to every topic we touch. In the realm of love and relationships, marriage and divorce, parenting struggles and single parenting triumphs, toxic relationships, and the liberating journey out of codependence, our goal is crystal clear. We are architects of change, crafting blueprints for better, more holistic relationships that stand the test of time. This isn't just a show or podcast. It is a movement. Each show is an invitation to recalibrate one's perspective, to rethink conventional norms, and to embark on a journey towards a more fulfilling life. From the nuanced dance of co-parenting to the empowering pursuit of self-confidence, we are here to guide you towards positive transformation, empowerment of self and others, setting goals, building legacies, and collecting fortune with purpose. Holistic relationships is more than a show, it's a philosophy. We navigate the complex terrain of aging gracefully and achieving optimal health and weight loss, shedding light on compatibility in relationships and imparting wisdom on the art of dating and courtship. Join us as we forge a community committed to positive change, where every conversation is a catalyst for growth, every revelation is a step towards understanding, and every piece of advice is a key to unlocking a more holistic and fulfilling life. Welcome to Holistic Relationships, where the pursuit of better, more meaningful connections begin, and positive change is not just encouraged, but celebrated. Welcome to Holistic Relationships. And the topic for today is dating and diet. It's really about people getting to know people, learning what their counterpart diet is, right? Rather than just jumping into relationships with because they like them so much and not knowing what their discipline is as far as what they eat, that can be dangerous. Because you can find yourself in a relationship where this person is eating themselves to death, or where they'll begin to deteriorate before your very eyes. You may be doing well and you care about how you look and you're trying to get fit and fine, and this person is just doing what they want because maybe they lack the discipline or they really don't care. Either, and there could be some other things. I'm not gonna say that everyone doesn't care. I'm gonna say that some just don't care. I remember I used to hear mentalities. Well, you gotta die of something one day. Or it's all going down the same place where they're mixing all kinds of food and dish together and they're eating it. And they go, well, it's going all down to the same place. But not really understanding what they're doing or what they're saying for that matter. So it really is to take this a little bit medical. Physically, it is going down the same place. It's going to going into the mouth, down the throat, down to the stomach, going into the digestive tract. It's going down into the same place. But there's a little bit more to digest than that. And of course, most people don't know that. They don't know or have not, let me rephrase that. Because most of us have had some kind of chemistry, even in grade school, as young as grade school or high school. So even if you haven't gone to college, you haven't obtained any degrees, chemistry was exposed to you at some point in earlier levels of education, earlier stages of education, whether it was primary education or secondary education. That was exposed to you, whether you paid attention to it or not. But if you can just remember a little bit about it, because some people, you're thinking a little further back than others. You can even Google it now. So maybe you don't even have to rely on your memory from when you were in high school. Maybe you can Google it to give yourself a little bit of a refresher about acid-base chemistry, the chemistry of the body, because that is why it's dangerous to have that mentality. So many people suffer from digestive tract disorders, and I would say it has a little bit to do with an ignorant mentality to just eat whatever the way you want without any regard or care about the consequences, not pay enough attention or not care about it. Now, if you don't care, you can put me on a little bit of a mental mute on this part of the topic if you're a little sensitive about how you eat. Because, some people act like that because they know that they're not eating right and they may feel some kind of way about you speaking on the topic. But by no means am I judging people who have trouble and true challenges with their weight. But there are some people who don't care about their health. So if you're one of those people, you can go have a seat. You can go have several seats. Go on to the back there. I'm talking to the people who actually want to hear what I'm about to say with regards to the chemistry and eating and what it's doing to you when you're not being mindful about how you're eating and what you're mixing together, because it does matter. It does have an effect. When you're eating, when you're going through digestion, everything's going to the stomach, and I'm just paraphrasing everything. You're trying to get through it really fast. So the stomach acid, the hydrochloric acid, is going to help to break down everything. The stomach is churning everything, and now that's getting ready to go to the small intestine, and that's where most of the absorption takes place. But in that cycle, as we're going through that pathway, you have digestive enzymes. And I didn't want to say digestive juices, but you have other things along with the digestive enzymes that join in breaking down food particles. That's just a part of digestion. It's going to help break down different things, whether it's the carbohydrates, the fatty acids, or the proteins. Your digestion is the same kind of, but there may be different things that jump in and exist, breaking down certain things, certain particles, rather than the carbs or the proteins, so that everything is in a small form and it's in an absorbable form by the time it gets to the small intestine, because that's where most of the absorption takes place. It passes on to the large bowel or the large colon, large intestine, and the body will absorb whatever remaining water it can from that, and then it's eliminated out of the body through the rectum by way of a bowel movement. So that's just a brief overview. So let's talk about the part before it gets absorbed. So this is the area between stomach and small intestine. There are certain things that will trigger certain digestive enzymes that may be acidic in nature or alkaline in nature. Acidic being anything on a pH scale ranging below 7, or digestive enzymes that will be alkaline in nature, where you look at the pH scale, they're a little greater than 7. And when you're throwing things in the mix together, and I go more into that in my detox program, about what foods trigger what digestive enzymes, whether they're acidic or alkaline in nature. But when you're throwing everything into the pot and it's triggering those digestive enzymes that may be acid or alkaline in nature, they all go in and then they neutralize themselves. They neutralize each other, right? So what happens? What happens with the food and digestion when that happens? Because they have a job, they're there to help break things down. So here's one example. They like to tell you that when you eat fruit, and at least I make that recommendation too, when you eat the fruit, eat it by itself. Fruit can be digested so super easy. We complicate it in our diets when we put things in with the fruit that is of a different nature than the fruit that's going to trigger another digestive enzyme like oatmeal or cereal or whipped cream or yogurt. You know, the things that you mix things in with the fruit. I recommend people to just eat the apple, eat the watermelon, eat the strawberries, eat the fruit alone, because it's gonna digest really fast, 20-30 minutes top. And then you can go and then eat whatever else you're gonna eat. But now you haven't compromised the digestion of the fruit, which is really quick. And it can help give you a nice energy source at the same time, because that's sugar, a simple sugar that the body can use right away. Not an artificial sugar, a natural sugar. So that is the difference that I want to make when I'm talking about sugar, because there's also a negative stigma around carbs and sugars. Natural. All right. So back to what we're talking about. You're mixing everything in a pot. What ends up happening is indigestion. What is that? Undigested food. Now you just got undigested food particles just chilling, right? So what does the body do with things it doesn't know what to do with it? It didn't get absorbed. It didn't move the way it was supposed to. It's kind of stuck throughout the digestive tract. What does it do with it? It stores it in the adipose tissue, your fat tissue. That's what usually happens. And yes, our bodies do a lot. They're able to do a lot for us. And a lot of times we're thinking, we'll just let it do what it do. But we can help it out a little bit. We can help it out. So that's why you want to be mindful about how you're mixing things. Again, I go over that in my detox program about mixing food, because there's a method to the madness. Another thing that people do is they drink really cold beverages after a meal or during a meal. That's something that's not too good to do. Give you an example for those of us over here in this Midwest and over East that's going through the winter season. Okay, you feel that wind out there, that wind chill. What do? You shrink into the middle. That's what happens to the body. Your tissues, vasoconstriction. It's not going to be dilation, because that usually happens with more warmer temperatures, hot. Temperature can control vasoconstriction and vasodilation. Now, of course, medications have an influence over vasoconstriction and vasodilation, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the liquids that you put in your body after you eat a big meal. So after you eat a big meal, you're putting in the temperature of your liquid. Let's be a little mindful about that now. But when it's cold, you just slowed your digestion. You slowed it down, because it's time to keep a state of homeostasis, a state of balance in the body. temperature control up. Your body is like, look, they just let me go over here, fix this real quick. So it's not digesting properly anymore. It's doing something else. So first comes a little bit of a little education about eating, if you care to know. Young people who's listening, I don't know how many 50-year-olds are going to take this advice. I don't know how many 40-year-olds are going to take this advice to heart, or 35 and above. I don't know if they're going to, but you have an opportunity to take this information and apply it in your life today. You're young. For the young people, you're young enough. And I'm not saying this to say that the 30-year-olds, 30, 40-year-olds, or 50-year-olds can't change or can't take this information right now and make that change. I'm not trying to say that, because they absolutely can. I just know that the younger that you are, you have an opportunity to retrain yourself much easier than those of us that get stuck in our ways, you know? So that's the reason why I say that. Ooh. So again, at any age, we can do this. With the lack of education about these things, that is why we end up seeing in the population. And women who struggle, the women that's struggling, I'm trying to tell you, you want to be attractive to your man. And I'm not trying to say that all men want a really skinny type of woman. I'm not here to say that. That's another conversation, another holistic topic conversation, another day. But I'm saying just to be your best self, health-wise. There's a thing called body mass index. It's a chart. It's real. Stop trying to aspire to be the thick in this big booty kind of way. Be healthy. That's another holistic topic for another day. You know, I got that one lined up. Are we thick or fat? Stay tuned for that conversation. I got some stuff for you. But back to this about the diet. Having that ignorant stance that it's all just going down. No. I mean, it is literally. But when we start honing in and zooming in and really taking the camera in and zooming into what's happening, there's a lot going on in that process. And I wanted to be able to share that for a second. So just in case you've heard of that, you know, some family member, a friend, somebody that's probably on all kinds of medication and they have that mentality and they shared it with you. I mean, you always got those people. But anyway, if you took something that they said to heart and you accepted that in your mind and in your heart, please unaccept it. Please do. It's all going down the same place. Please unaccept it. Unaccept that piece of advice. It's a terrible piece of advice. If you heard it from someone older, just unaccept it. Do better. Do better than the generations before you. Just do better. Just do better. Do better than the ones prior. Unaccept that piece of advice. Let it go. Leave it with the person who's doing it. And I guarantee you the person, pay attention to what they looking like. With that, you know, who's saying that. Let's take a look at them. Especially with those who are really active and challenged. We're having a challenging time with losing weight. And that midsection, you're struggling there. Talk to me. I got some tricks. I can put you on some stuff. But again, don't listen to that mentality that it's all going down. Yes, physically it is, but chemically, biochemically, there's a little bit more going on in that conversation. But back on to our topic, dating and diet. Let's get back on track. So sometimes you can find yourself in a relationship where you're not doing anything together or can't do anything together, or if you are going places, they're gorging and eating in ways that's making you cringe, and you're trying to go on a straight and narrow where you don't want bad knees or hip replacements or arthritis in your older age, but you're looking at this person that's across from you that has no regard for it, and you feel bad, and it compels you because you care. Let's say you're already in the relationship, and that person can think that you're nagging them, but in actuality, you care. You really care about the outcome, their health outcome. You may even care more than them. They may not care that much. They may be perfectly fine with aging prematurely by way of a bad diet and bad eating habits. Some people are willing to make the change, but it needs to be a change that they're making on their own, and it's not coming from your suggestion. Because if it's from your suggestions, then that means of course it means it didn't come from them, but they may not keep it up because then their reason for doing it was for you. Are they really going to adhere to it? Are they? It has to be something that they want. It has to be. It really does. That's the only way that happens. So and sometimes you find yourselves when you're in those relationships and you're getting fatter because you're matching with their eating. You're with them. Say they're the ones buying the food. Say it's the guy and he's the one buying the food. And if he has a bad eating habit and you guys are just eating, and don't get me wrong. Now, sometimes this is an economically challenged scenario, or maybe all you can afford is all you can afford. That happens. And we're not here to judge people based on their socioeconomic status, just to say that they're horrible in this. That's not what we're trying to do here. That's not the message that I'm trying to convey either. But there is so many levels to this. You have the person, man or a woman. Sometimes it's the woman that has the terrible eating habits. And the man is cringing because he's thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to gain 20 pounds because of her mentality, because of her habits. Then you have where it's the other way around, and it's the woman, and she's thinking, and the guy is eating excessively and uncontrollably, and she's thinking, oh my God, he's going to gain 25 pounds. And as much as we like to think that we're beings that are above our primitive ways, that we're above the physical and vanity, attraction is attraction. Either you're attracted to them physically or you're not. You're either attracted to them or you're not. Some people take care of themselves in a way where you're attracted to their habits, you're attracted to their commitment, you're attracted to, where they have a blessed with a well put together physique. They may have great physiques, even if they don't work out excessively. And then some may have challenges with their weight. And again, there is so many reasons why a person, and I'm not going to say that there's so many reasons, but there are various reasons why a person may have a bad diet. And a lot of times it has to do with the investment that they make and the money that they make and put into their food. Some people, and I like to use this example because I love this person to death and I miss him dearly, but I remember when I used to go shopping with my father, he used to buy the cheapest food ever. And going to the grocery store with him, he would be comparing prices. And I was a kid going to the grocery store with him. It was just brutal. And although my mother didn't make a lot of money, she didn't go with the cheapest. She did the best that she could and did the best that she could with the information she had. And one of the things that she told me that her mother, my grandma Pearl, told her is that sometimes you may have to go with a lower price item, but that doesn't have to be your food. And I think what I took away from that is I'm just going to make a solid investment in the things that I eat. So what happened at my body? Oh, I'm making that investment. If I'm on a budget, a tight budget, I'm going to cut something else out that's not that dang important. Okay? Because our bodies are the only vessel and vehicle we have in this world until we leave this world. Why would you be skimpy and cheap about what you put in it? Doesn't make any sense to me. It never did. So I've always made the investment in buying organic or in buying, but I've also trained myself in a way where I don't eat excessively. I know what to eat and how to reach satiety. What is satiety? Some people may ask. Satiety is a state of fullness where you feel full. That is what satiety is. And in order to feel full, and I'm not just saying feel full temporarily, because you can still eat and gorge down a bunch of garbage and feel full and fall asleep and wake up within 15 to 30 minutes, then you're still hungry again, you're starving. And that's because the cells and their receptors are starving. They're like, I didn't eat. I couldn't use what you just ate. You may have enjoyed it. Those taste buds may have enjoyed what you just ate, but it did not give you anything. It was things, and we all eat a lot of things, of no nutritional value. So when it comes to that, and the mate, the person you're sitting across the table from, eating with, it is serious. It's so serious. And you don't want to offend them, because it is a grown person. So you can't just tell them what to do. It's always better for the relationship, an adult relationship, to keep in mind that you're both adults. Number one, first and foremost, and to be respectful in your communication with one another. Sometimes we can be, and this is just assuming that you're not a control freak and or narcissistic men and women out here that's super control freaks, and they just trying to tell folks what to do, because that's the mental or undiagnosed mental disorder they may be walking around with. So we're just talking that that's not the case. That's another topic, another discussion of the day about narcissistic men and women, because women exist too. But we're going to talk about that. So we're not talking about the control freaks when I'm speaking of this. We're talking about it from the standpoint that this person is passionate and really care about you. We want to make sure in our delivery, even in that care, that we're mindful of our words. We're mindful of just the delivery and how we're trying to say what we're trying to say, how to convey our thoughts. It may take some time and some thinking and maybe some consulting with other people so that you can say what you need to say to the other adult about how maybe their eating habits is affecting the relationship indirectly or directly, by way they are starting to show up, how their appearance is going to be or how it is looking, or any type of mood or mood swings they are having that's directly related to the diet that they have, those bad food choices, right? So you're trying to figure out the words and how to say it, and we should have these conversations. Keep in mind, even with the best of intentions, even with the best delivery, even with the best, it still may not be well received. And that person can still snap off on you because they're sensitive about it. And maybe they're not sensitive, but they don't like that you just called them out on this. So you don't know if that's the monster that you're dealing with underneath all of the smiles and the good times and all of that. And when it's really time to be real, when it's time to have a real conversation, how do they take information in? How do they receive the information about themselves that stress that? How do they receive it? And then how do they treat you in proportion to receiving that information from you when you have just conveyed it and delivered it in the most respectful way that you can think of? Keep in mind, you can still have a not so desired response, even with all your planning, even with all the thinking. You can still get a stank response to that. And you have to be ready for it. Get ready for what you need to do if this is the type of person, if they're revealing yourself. I mean, I love Maya Angelou's quote where if someone shows you who they are, believe them. So when you do that, and you're not getting, and I'm not saying that you need to get a response where they just agree with you and they're yes or yes sir, but they do need to be able to still have received your point and communicate back with you in an equally respectful way. And I'll just go in a little further to say, as far as not being able to agree with you, they can be in denial because what you're saying could be true, and it could be a level of denial for them. They can't accept the truth. They don't want to really face the truth. You may find that is the case. And you may get it where they've been like, you know what? I really have been struggling with that. Thank you for being so nice about how you presented it to me. And I appreciate you for keeping it real and telling me the truth and telling me how you feel. You can still get that response or something similar. I'm just saying be open and ready for whatever response that you get, and try not to take it personal, because that is such a sensitive topic for people, especially if they're not doing the work. Or what I mean by doing the work, it's because maybe they just don't know how, or they've tried things and it just didn't work out, and the weight is just packing on, and they can't stop because of the cravings, and they don't know what else to do. You know, again, these things don't exist in a vacuum. There's just many variables, many things around why a person could be struggling with their weight and or struggling with a bad diet, bad habits. All of this to say, to remember that you are both adults. Remember, you're both adults. And how you present that to them, because a lot of people like to say, oh, I'm just keeping it real. I'm just a realist. But that doesn't mean you have to be a butthole. You don't have to be that. Okay. And you don't have to candy coat it. You don't have to be harsh in your words. You can be clear in your words, but not harsh in your words. So I would just do a quick summary recap that there are several reasons, various reasons why a person can have a bad diet. The top of the list is, and again, I don't sincerely believe people just want to have bad habits or just do bad. I don't think people want to be that trifling, just innately, meaning that's just their nature. I don't believe that. But what I do believe is that maybe the cards they've been dealt in life doesn't allow them the luxury to buy organic all the times, or they may have a family size that doesn't support buying organic all the time. I mean, you know, like the ratio to their family size, their income doesn't support buying organic all the time. So the socioeconomic reasons are certainly reasons. Then there are course, the reasons for people where they're just lazy, where they're just lazy and they don't care about the outcomes, their health outcomes. They may not care as much about their well-being. They're not caring how things turn out. You may have a soul that doesn't give, that doesn't care. They're like, whatever, I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's it. You may have a soul that's a mix between, I don't care, and I don't believe in all that health crap. I'm going to do what my grandmama was doing and my mama and them was doing. I'm going to do that and do that, and I'm going to be just fine. And then you're hurting for that person because you care about them. And you're just flabbergasted that they don't care enough. They hear you, but they're like, no. And then you can have the element of laziness where they hear what you're saying. They can believe in it. They're knowing what you're saying is correct, but they're still not really going to do it because they always got an excuse. Oh, I'm going to wait until my money right. Oh, it doesn't take very long. But it will tell you what they do spend their money on. What they do spend their money on. Ain't nothing that's going to help them. You can go and buy an organic banana. You can do it. It's the types that make the excuse, well, after I go on this trip or after this holiday or after this or after that, have no intention on doing better or changing those bad habits because you gave solutions or you offered solutions to them and they found a way to say, I'm not going to be able to do this right now. Then you have the other type. That's, okay, I said the lazy type already. Yeah, I did. Okay. You have the know-it-alls. The ones that's going to say, I can do it when I get ready. The ones that's self-deceived. And to get you off of their back, they got to go hard to let you know that they know what they're doing and they older than you or they do this for a living. They know more than you, and maybe they aren't older than you and you are the same age. Maybe they could be older than you, maybe by 4 or 5 years or something, and maybe they feel like they're more educated than you. May not have a degree of any sort, but they got a few narcissistic traits. They got to tell you, oh, I know how to do this and I know how to do that. And so they got something to say. They can't let you talk them off, or they're not coachable. Because their little fragile ego won't allow them to accept any information from you. They feel that they've done some things in their lives that's greater than you. This isn't their niche. So sometimes they feel like, they feel like you can't tell me nothing. And again, now we're going to go and switch over to the side of the person who's pressing. Sometimes they're pressing in a way, you got to understand that when you're in a relationship with someone, you're with an adult. Hopefully you're not breaking the law and you're with an adolescent or a child or a minor. Hopefully you're not a pedophile. Hopefully that's not the case. But when you're in a relationship with that other adult, your peer, your equal, your way to communicating to them has to be of mutual respect. No one likes to be talked down on. No one likes it. And so your delivery is especially important as far as how you express to that person how you feel about what they're doing to themselves and doing to their body. For those of you who are already in marriages and long-term relationships with people where you feel I'm with them. I love them. I'm with them. I love them. I don't like their habits. I don't like the things that they do sometimes, but I'm with them. This is what I want. This is where I want to be. My suggestion to you will be the approach that I have with my own family, because my heart was always with my family. I love them. But when they didn't do the things that I recommended, I had to be able to accept it and make peace with it and just allow whatever was getting ready to happen to them and be okay with it and not be hurt by it, because I did my part. I offered to help. I went to them and tried to get them to do better. And maybe they did, maybe they rejected it, maybe they did it for a little bit and stopped. But so if they're going through something, I can't take it as my fault, you know? And I know we all have to leave this world at some time, but a person's belief system, their belief system about when they leave, how they leave, what they should be doing at what age, that is their belief system and theirs alone. And that's what I will say for the people who are with the people, that you make peace with it. You find a way to make peace with it so you can have a nice, peaceful dynamic with them, a harmonious relationship with them for the days that you have with them, for however many days you still have with them. For those of you who are dating and you're out on the scene and you're trying to figure this out, you get an opportunity of finding this out a little early on before your heart is invested in this person. So rather than getting sold, and don't get love bombed. Do not get love bombed where you're like, oh my God, I love him, or oh my God, I love her. Don't get love bombed by what you see on the surface. You got to let time go by to know what a person, because a person can be pretending. They can be pretending to be this or that, because they figured I found out about you. They know that that's what you are about. And they're trying to find a like interest and to seem like, oh, we got a lot in common. We can do this. That's what they're trying to do. But for you to really know, will require you to take some time, to observe. Going out and eating with that person and looking at what they order, okay? In a non-judgmental manner. Just let them do what they do. Let them show you who they are. And don't sit there nitpicking with them about what they select and what they do. Don't do that. Just look and see, because then they could just shape up temporarily, because they could be like, oh, this person paying attention to what I'm doing because you said something. But had you not said anything, they would just do what they do. That is what I recommend. That's what I would recommend. And just see. Do some lunch dates. Do things that aren't so extravagant, but just an everyday thing, you know, so you're talking with them, when you're looking at their stories on social media of what they're buying and what they're eating, what are their spending habits? Most people put that ish on social media. What are they buying and what they're doing? Of course, they're going to put the better things, the highlights of things on there. But what you can do is find out what they really are about. You're able to find that out. And that comes with time. Befriend them before jumping in. And I'm not saying that you may not have a physical attraction to them, but I will say that when sex is involved, judgment can get clouded, definitely. But you should still see what that person is about, to see how they are, because you're not going to change them. So you can get that out your mind. You're not going to change them. If they're not already eating a certain way, they're not. Don't look for them to do it. If they just filling up with stuff that's, you know, it's going to be a future walking cardiovascular disorder or diabetes disorder, then you know. You need to be able to see that they make these type of changes within themselves and they are determined that this is the way that they're going to be. You got to let it happen as it is going to happen. That's a part. You need to see that it's a part of their normal belief. Just like you see them posting on a daily, however they're posting. Pay attention to how they're eating. You'll know it If you got somebody that's going to be in the hospital all the time, or that you're going to have to take care of because they're sickly by way of their choices, or they're congested all the time, they got nasal things going on, snoring all the time, and you'll know. And after all of my years of dating and finding this stuff out, you know. So you don't have to say that. I don't say anything to anybody about what they put in their mouth. That is your prerogative. If somebody wants to do better about what they're doing or what they're eating, I figured they would ask me. They know that I'm into that's what I do. But if they don't, and if they think they know what they're going to do, or someone thinks, hey, they're like, hey, I got this. I'm going to still try to slim up and do what I want to do, and they don't care to take your or my recommendation, not a problem. I'm not going to worry about it. And then they'll end up feeling bad about themselves because there is an insecurity about it. They feel some kind of way about it. They do. They feel somewhere about that spare tire, that cellulite. They'll point it out. They'll tell you. I remember I was talking to a gentleman and he was like, yeah, I've been trying to get this weight down and I've been doing this and that. And because, I used to be like this, and I used to be an athlete. I used to play football and this. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, all right. I felt uncomfortable for him. Like, you're telling me everything you don't like about yourself. What am I supposed to do here? And I'm not even looking at you that way. I'm not even attracted to you. So imagine a person that is. How would that be like? So again, you definitely want to know what those person's habits are before you get too deep in. And the only way to know that is to take your time and get to know that person. To look at the scene, look at everything objectively without judgment. You're not there to judge. You're there to observe. Is this the right fit for me? Again, you definitely want to see how those person's habits are before you jump in. And the only way to know that is to take your time and get to know the person. So look at the scene, look at everything objectively without judgment. You're not there to judge. You're there to observe. Is this a right fit for me? Do I cringe at what this person eats and what they like? Because you can't change them. They have to change themselves. And if you get into something with them and you get heavily invested with them emotionally, and they're still doing those things that make you cringe, it will continue to be a problem for you and could trigger resentment. You'll probably always have some problem with them on some level on what they're doing, and you don't like it. You may not agree with it. What can you do? Especially if you allowed yourself to get invested when you didn't know enough about it. or you did see it and still let yourself get invested when you knew it was going to be an issue for you. But I am here to say to everyone listening to the show about this topic, dating and diet, whether you're the one with the bad habit, I mean, yes, you can change. And I would say take baby steps. Or not. And I'm not going to say to a person, break up with someone because of the way that they eat. But let's think about this from another angle or another standpoint. Would you stay with someone that didn't love themselves? When you're doing something that could be a form of not loving yourself, to make a conscious decision to do it, right? Especially if they're doing something to themselves hurtful to themselves knowingly. For example, if someone's snorting cocaine, there are consequences to that. Are you going to remain with that person? What do? You like them genuinely, and they could be doing something to their body that's just, it doesn't denote that they love themselves. So what do you do? Now, of course, when it comes to smoking and drinking, another conversation, okay? I'm not saying that, I know that was going to come up, all right? But as far as what is it that you do? Do you stay there? Do you watch them eat themselves into early grave? I mean, seriously, what do you do? What do you do? So those are things that I think as the world becomes more conscious about this nutrition conversation, that the generations to come may be more conscious of this. And I think that dating and relationships for the younger generations that are more receptive to this and these changes in diet and the lifestyle changes that are needed so that they can go into their golden years. Because the people of the 50s now are not like the 50s of your parents. I can tell you that for sure. For sure. As always, I welcome your feedback, your input, any stories you want to share, any scenarios, any personal experiences that you've had on this topic, on dating and diet. Again, we should have these difficult conversations because what is our goal here? The goal is to walk out of this with better relationships, better dynamics, more fulfilling lives, better outcomes, and health outcomes. And we're passing this information on to the younger people, the people behind us. So please, feel free to share any experiences or concerns, opinions, questions. It's all welcome because different perspectives are needed. And that's how we grow. There's not just one viewpoint. My viewpoint isn't the be all or end all. And I'm sure there are other things to mention. And just for the sake of time, because I've gone over my time limit today, and because everything is unscripted and coming off the top of my head as I'm thinking about it, but I do welcome more conversations around it. Again, thank you for joining today's holistic relationships topic, dating and diet. Until next time.